Time for us to now have a look at the newspapers, and starting us off is the Daily Nation, and the very top story here is loans. MPs give Ruto blank check. So carte blanche, the government is seeking to a free hand to continue borrowing beyond the legal debt ceiling of 55% of the gross domestic product. So as part of new proposals sponsored by National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, the National Treasury has proposed extension of coming into force of the debt threshold as a percentage of the GDP is beyond 2028. This is on page 4 and also 5. And on the top page as well, Kamala Harris concedes but vows to fight on. In a concession speech, the vice president acknowledges President-elect Donald Trump's win while warning of potential dark times. And this is on page 3. And also still on the top page, abductions, it's not us, says police boss. So Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja says 42 Kenyans died during the anti-tax protest, even as he absolved the service from wrongdoing. This is page 10. And state promises to promote primary head teachers. Education CS Julius Ogamba says state is considering their request for elevation to principals due to the additional responsibilities they have assumed since introduction of junior school last year. And still on the top page, MPs allege evidence tampering in 16.5 billion edible oil scam probe. So we have legislatures want to know the status of investigations into the controversial scandal, claiming high-level interference into the inquiry. The development follows admission by the Kenya National Trading Corporation that Kenya lost at least 6.5 billion. This is a story on the back page. Page 2, why employers must detail reasons for dismissing staff. So judge rules there must be procedural and substantive fairness in effecting termination. This is a story on page 2. Good news even for those employees. So an employer required to prove validity of reasons in any claim. So there's a procedure that needs to be done. Page 2, court allows Nairobi County employee to keep 643 million wealth. This is a story on page 2. You can follow up on that. The court actually dismissed a case by the anti-graft body seeking the forfeiture of more than 643 million shillings in assets and funds belonging to Nairobi County employee and co-director of a popular club 1824 on Langata Road. This is a story on page 2. Page 3, I see Kamala Harris concedes election to Trump but vows to fight. So the outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for. The light of America's promise will always burn bright. So Harris rose to the top of the Democratic jacket in July after Biden steps aside. This is a story on page 3. And moving on, I see inside Raila's night meeting with ODM ministers honkers. So Mr. Odinga held talks with CSs from ODM and top party officials on Tuesday evening. And we get to see here that on Friday, Mr. Today, that is to unveil his vision for Africa. So the date this month that the ODM leader will be expected to attend a Thanksgiving ceremony for ODM National Chairperson Gladys Wanga. And moving on, still on the Daily Nation, this morning, I see on the opinion today, clear the air on housing project and land ownership. That's a story on page 16, more on opinion. And county news today, I see new push to end abuse of women during childbirth. So motion in House aims to ensure expectant mothers get dignified care in hospitals. Still on the county news, crisis as county workers go months without pay. So county authorities also cite challenges in effecting social health insurance and fund deductions. And that's on the county news this morning. And this day on the DN2, we have a very, very interesting story here on The Voice, which is a cover story, 70 kilometer to life. Whitey at his mother choose Kamuke's mad heart over modern hospitals. And The Voice still, I see here Huda Momanyi Hilsley, the daughter of Kenya, who defied all odds to win a U.S. state seat. This is a story on page 7. And coming down to the sports page now, I see here that player wants a 16-month old match fixing case resolved. So former City Stars forward Ezekiel Odera Miles taking his case to the High Court. And still on sports, 200 golfers to vie for Mary Carano trophy, and that's on the Daily Nation as well on the sports pages. And coming down to the Standard, is the top story here they've given us is abductions puzzle as police say it wasn't us. So the identity of people behind the recent spate of abductions, which has angered Kenyans and drawn condemnation, was thrown into a spin yesterday after top police bosses led by IG Douglas Kanja denied before before MPs that police officers had anything to do with it. The question now is, so who is behind this brazen wave of injustice on Kenyans? The question still remains. That story on page 4. And coming down to still the top page, I see Raila's AUC chair campaign enters a crucial phase. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who fancies his chances of replacing outgoing Chadian Musa Faki Mahamat as African Union Commission chairman, formally begins his journey in continental politics today with the launch of his bid at the body's headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, stepping up a gear campaigns for the seat that falls vacant in February. And still on the top page, senators clash with MPs over county billions. Page 10, Russia's new demand to end a tax. That is on the World. Page 30, Safaricom profit hits 48 billion shillings. That's on the business page. And Arteta vow after losses. That's on the sports page, page 40. Right here on the story on the U.S. elections, I see here Trump fears and hopes of Kenyans in U.S. So U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris gave a defiant concession speech following Donald Trump's presidential win, even as Kenyans in America laid bare their wishes. That's on page 2 and also 3. And I see page 12, 2 ex-NYS staff jailed over loss of 791 million shillings to build a road in Kibra. That's the story on page 12 right there. And moving on, still on the Standard, I see here on the World News, wind fund wildfire burning out of control near Los Angeles. So fierce gust up to 130 kilometers an hour responsible for fueling flames. And there was no immediate figure for the number of people hurt. And that is a story on page 29. And that's on the World News. On the county's puzzle of missing CCTV footage at DCI in young lawyer's murder case. So after snapping several court summons, detective appears without crucial footage. He claims the recordings were lost when unit in Nairobi moved locations. That's on the county news this day. And on the opinion today, local and global efforts needed to save Kenya's dying coral reefs. And moving on to the sports page, Arteta vows Arsenal will recover from troubled spell. So Ghana's crash to defeat against Inter Milan in the Champions League on Wednesday. And moving on, I see here that Athletics Kenya determined to host 2029 World Championships. We've also seen this on the Daily Nation and even yesterday. So Sports CS Murkomen says government will support AK in developing talent. Nairobi had made a bid for the 2025 World Athletics Championships but lost to Tokyo. And that's it for the Standard. And coming down to the Business Daily, the top story here is the private sector pay falls for first time in over 30 years. So KRA says average pay dropped to 75,781 shillings from 78,034, and companies seen preferring lower paid workers. Okay, so that's it for the Business Daily this morning. And I see here still on the top page of the Business Daily, Ethiopia's beer hits Safaricom as Kenya unit profit grows. And moving on to page 24, two crucial rookie strategies for playing new options in the market. And on the last word today, Tracy Ellis Ross, this is actually an actress. I've seen some of her movies. She's saying, I'm learning every day to allow the space between where I am and where I want to be to inspire me and not terrify me. That is a very, very beautiful word right there. And that's it. Just briefly on the newspapers, just getting to know what is being reported, what is therein, and of course to learn about what is happening, but also most importantly to pray for our nation and also beyond. So let us now have a look at the video of the day.